Hey friend, welcome to the Self Care Isn't Selfish podcast. I'm your host, Emily Nichols. As a Whole30 certified coach, wife, busy working boy mom, and your self-care guru, I'm here to help you start putting yourself first without the guilt. Each week you'll hear motivating and practical tips on how you can create a habit of self-care through interviews with my amazing guests or quick solo episodes with me. After each episode, you'll walk away with an action plan and feel empowered to implement what you have learned into your life. So grab a cup of coffee, glass of wine, or your favorite sparkling water, and let's do this. You're listening to episode 40 of the Self-Care Isn't Selfish podcast. 40 episodes and 40 amazing episodes. I'm so grateful for you listening. I'm so grateful to all of the guests that have come on to the show to share their hearts and their expertise. And I hope it's really allowed you to create your own version of self-care and to live that lifestyle out guilt-free. You know, this is a lifestyle for me. My self-care checklist is very vital to my life right now, especially in quarantine with my kids. And I hope you have been able to adjust and find your own version of self-care during this time. Well, today I have a very special guest. My friend Stacey Heiny is on the show. I've wanted to have her on to share her perspective because she is a wellness mentor, and she really specializes in environmental aspects that impact our health, which is something I am super interested in. So this includes the food that we eat to decrease chronic illness, all the way to chemicals in the home and how each aspect plays a role in our well-being. So Stacey also passionately works and advocates for Beautycounter, a company whose mission is to get safer products into the hands of everyone. So today's episode is all about living a cleaner life. And we'll talk more in the episode. Stacey lives a plant-based lifestyle, and I'm not wanting to say that you should live a plant-based lifestyle or that I am or will be living a purely plant-based lifestyle. But it's something I wanted to educate myself more on and learn more about for a couple of reasons that I mentioned in the show. One of the big curiosities for me around this came from my own Whole30 experience. So after my first Whole30, I realized, man, I don't really eat enough vegetables. And the more you eat them, the more you crave them. And I figured out different ways to prepare different vegetables that made them more enjoyable and I liked them better. But then I noticed my clients saying the same things like, man, I really didn't eat enough vegetables before. And when you eat more colorful foods, you feel way better as well. And that's actually one of the aspects of my self-care coaching as well. We focus on health as far as moving your body, but also how you're fueling your body. And we focus on eating the most colorful foods possible. And I know with the quarantine going on right now, I personally have been experiencing record high sugar cravings because it's something that I turn to when I'm overwhelmed or stressed. So I've been buying cookies and ice cream, and I haven't been feeling my best. And I know what makes me feel my best. It's eating colorful foods that help me feel good, pretty much. So I wanted to explore eating plant-based and living a cleaner life in general with Stacey because she is the expert on this. I know she can really educate you, the audience, on how you can start incorporating food that grows from the ground and living a more colorful life, if you will. So enjoy this episode with my friend Stacey Heiny. Make sure you stick around to the end where I share my 3 biggest takeaways. All right, gang. Thanks again for tuning into the Self-Care Isn't Selfish podcast. I'm so excited to introduce you all to my guest, Stacey Heiny. Stacey, thanks so much for coming on the show.
Hey, and thank you so much for having me. I am so very excited to be here today.
Yay. I'm excited for our listeners to hear your story and get some inspiration from you. I love following you on social media just for my own personal inspiration too. So thank you
Aw,
so
thank
much
you.
for all that you're putting out there. But I always got ask my guests this first question. So Stacey, what does self-care mean to you?
So, okay, I was part of a health summit this last weekend, and somebody said something that woke me up so much. Self-care is not just our everyday things that we do to get ready. So, like at this period in time when we're recording this, we've been quarantined, and everybody, including myself, have been posting about how oh, I put my makeup on, self-care. Well, actually, to me, and what really woke me up this weekend was, you know what? Self-care is more than that. Self-care is more than just your everyday getting ready, taking care of your body. It is doing the things in your life that will increase your vibe, if you will. And that means, taking it an extra step, like looking into what you're eating, looking into what you're using in your home, really taking care of the planet. It means a lot, but it's kind of, to me, it means going above and beyond the everyday.
Yeah, I love that. I feel like a lot of people don't realize self-care can actually be kind of hard sometimes, and it's not just basic surface level stuff.
It's like it's an everyday endeavor for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Stacey, can you tell everyone a little bit about yourself, kind of your story, like where you've been and where you are now?
Yeah. So I was thinking about, how far back am I going to go in my story? But I grew up really active and went to school for exercise science. I've always been very much into health and wellness. And so that's kind of my backstory. And then while I was going to school for exercise science, I was working in a bakery and also teaching Pilates. So I got my Pilates certification during the time that I was in school. I was teaching Pilates. I was working in a bakery. How funny is that? Like on my lunch break from the bakery, I would go and teach Pilates. It's just like the ultimate balance. It's such a funny thing to look back on. But so I had a big passion for teaching Pilates, and I opened up a studio and owned that for about 6 years. And in the middle of that was introduced to the brand that I work for now called Beautycounter. And that is a safe skincare and cosmetics brand. And eventually sold my studio to pursue other things in life, including, my health and wellness brand. And now we're here, and I'm at home with my son, teaching people one-on-one. I'm basically a lifestyle wellness mentor. So what I love to do on a daily basis is increase people's awareness on how to live better. And that can mean a lot of things. That can mean, are you taking the time to do self-care? Are you taking the time to breathe? What can you do on a daily basis to help elevate your life and to prolong it for as long as possible? So I'm a lifestyle wellness mentor. I'm also a holistic nutritionist, and really going to be ramping up the working on one-on-one with people with nutrition. But I really help people understand just how to get toxins out of their life. Really, that's really what I focus on, and that includes food and household and beauty.
Yeah. So what does living a clean lifestyle mean to you?
Okay, so wow, it's such a loaded question.
Right.
I would say living a clean lifestyle means a journey. That's what it means to me. It's a lifelong journey to health. That's what clean living means to me. About 12 years ago, I would say, I really started becoming aware of what was in my environment. And that even includes people. I don't know what happened. Like, I'm 35 now, but it was in my like 20s that I just had this wake up call where I couldn't be blind anymore. I couldn't just go to the grocery store and assume that everything was safe, and that includes food. Like, I couldn't just assume that what's on the shelf is good for me. And I went through a period of time where I didn't feel amazing, and I knew that something needed to change. Definitely going through a drive-through was something I needed to stop. So that honestly, like, was where I started my clean journey. And it was pretty much like the day that I stopped eating fast food was the day that I awoke. And it's very loaded. That was a very loaded question. So like, but it just means looking at what we're eating, trying to do organic when we possibly can, maybe knowing your farmers, looking at the ingredients on our cleaning products, and maybe swapping candles for essential oils. It's just a whole multifaceted thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and like you said, it's a journey, and it not only just involves your physical health, but also your mental health as well. Like you said, maybe eliminating negativity from your life as far as other people or what you're feeding your brain with.
Absolutely. Yeah. Mainstream media, right? Like news. I mean, I don't know if we're on a Zoom call right now, so you could probably see my background. I have a TV in the background, but I don't even use it. We haven't turned the TV on. I mean, not to say that we don't watch documentaries every now and then, but like, that was something that when I got pregnant a few years ago, my son is almost 3, and I was just like, I can't handle TV anymore. And I know that sounds really, really extreme, and some people might think that I'm totally crazy, but I don't turn it on anymore, because that outside noise it does not make me a better person. So
Right.
for me, I like that stillness and that quietness. And if I want to learn, I will go to the sources that I know are trustworthy, and I will educate myself. That's what I like to do.
Yeah. And that's a new habit over time you have to learn and switch your
Yeah,
brain around to, for
for
sure.
sure.
So you live a plant-based lifestyle. I'm so interested in this. I'd love to learn about how you feel like you've changed mentally and physically. So has it been 12 years you've been
Yeah,
plant-based
it was
now?
about 12 years ago that something went off in my head, like I said, and
Mhm.
I think I had been reading some books and probably listening to some podcasts. I do have one book in particular that completely changed my outlook, and that's called The Kind Life by Alicia Silverstone. And that was
Mm.
in 2009 that I got that book. And that was a really great resource, because it helped open my eyes to not just the health aspects of what plants can do for our body, but also what it does for our environment. And that was a big thing to me. So it's been over 10 years that I've been fully plant-based. So about 11, 12 years ago is when I eliminated meat. And again, that kind diet book had a big impact on me. But basically, it's just been it was a process. I decided, for multiple reasons, for the well-being of animals, and for the environment first, and then thirdly came the health reasons, that I wanted to be fully plant-based. And actually, I never really made that decision like, oh, I'm going to go fully plant-based. It was really, it was a cumulative thing where I saw documentaries and I read books that, okay, I'm going to stop eating meat. And that was, again, strictly for animal reasons. And so I stopped eating meat. And then I just kind of naturally started decreasing chicken in my life, and started decreasing eggs. And it was just kind of like a trickle effect.
Right.
And eventually it got to a point where I was just only eating dairy. So you could call me like a lacto-vegetarian. There's lots of different versions. There's lacto,
Yeah.
eggs and dairy, right?
So
And
many
everybody has their
titles.
thing. So I was at this point where I was feeling really good and feeling really energized and teaching a lot of Pilates and doing all the things. And then I kind of hit a point where I didn't feel very good anymore. And that was, I think, because I was eating so much dairy, because at the point, where you're like taking things out of your diet, you're thinking in your mind, oh my gosh, because we were raised like this in this American culture, that we have to have a ton of protein. So my mind was thinking, oh my gosh, where am I getting my protein? I'm going to have to eat a lot more dairy. So I started increasing my dairy and I felt just horrible.
Oh my God.
So I got to a point where I felt so bad that I just quit dairy. And I was like, oh my gosh, there are dairy alternatives. And I remember going to the Good Earth in Broderpool because I taught Pilates in Broderpool. And that's like a super crunchy health food store.
Right.
And they had all these alternatives. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. And I never actually ended up going down the route of eating like a whole bunch of cheese, cheese substitutes.
Mm-hmm.
But I began learning through Alicia's book that, there are other things you can use, like cashews in place of dairy, or, if you have a nut allergy, perhaps you use hemp seeds or sunflower seeds or something like that, or even tofu if that's up your alley. So I started educating myself a lot more about the food and cooking and how I can keep my diet clean while also living a plant-based lifestyle. And to me, plant-based means so much more than just, what we're eating. Again, it's like a triple effect. It's the animals, the environment, and then elevating our bodies.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, I find it interesting how you were able to listen to your body over time too and think, okay, well, I'm over supplementing dairy as my protein. And you're like, I'm not feeling so well. And I think a lot of times people aren't as in tune with their bodies because they're eating so many different things that maybe necessarily don't agree with them. And it's hard to figure out what that trigger is for you and how it's affecting you, not only physically, but mentally as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, brain fogginess, like so many things that can wreak havoc on our body and we can't figure it out. So yeah, and I really believe very much in intuitive eating, and I always have. And I mean, I might have been looked at fun, like been made fun of. I truly was made fun of in high school because I would eat two lunches. And I know that sounds crazy, but I was an active person and I wanted two. Even though the guy sitting next to me would only have one spaghetti lunch, I would have two. Mm-hmm. And I never really thought that was crazy, even though I was made fun of. Like I needed that food. I wanted that food. So I ate what I wanted and in the amount that I wanted. And I still do that. And that is something that over the years of getting my nutrition certifications, and I just got back from getting my Food for Life license through Physicians Committee. Truly, like if you are transitioning to more of a plant-based lifestyle, you do need to eat more. And like people, I don't think are very in tune with that. So I think that's kind of where people do fail sometimes because they don't realize that the calorie density of plant foods is much less.
Sure.
A lot of the times, unless you're pounding nuts and seeds all day or avocados all day, you do need to be eating more. And even back in the day when I was still eating, meat and like the school lunches and the spaghetti and stuff, like I just listen to what my body needs. And if I need more energy, that probably means I need more food. And if something doesn't agree with me, I don't necessarily eliminate it completely out of my diet unless it's like an animal product. But I do kind of observe like what's going on, such as quinoa. I can't even eat quinoa. Like that's actually the only food allergy that I have. I realize that I have a saponin allergy, which is actually it's on the outside of the quinoa seed, and I'm super sad about it because that's a great a great source of protein and a great complex carbohydrate that I can't even eat. But anyways, that kind of went on a tangent. But I really think that just listening to your body is so incredibly important. And and realizing what gives you energy, what makes you feel good, and diving into that a little bit more and understanding why.
Hey gang, cutting in on this conversation real quick to tell you about my friends at the new Primal. I love this company not only because they make Whole30 approved sauces and meat sticks with just clean ingredients, but because of their mission of returning to the table. You know, food really does bring people together, and with all of our busy lives, it's hard to sit down to a meal together with your own family and your other loved ones. But the new Primal is really focused on community and bringing people together around food. And why not do that with clean ingredients? I use their classic marinade weekly. Their mustard barbecue is the perfect dipping sauce, and their ketchup as well. My kids love all their different spicy buffalo sauces as well. And like I said, their meat sticks are Whole30 approved, so I always have some in my handbag or in my glove compartment in my car if I need a quick emergency snack. So head over to thenewprimal.com and you can use the code EmilyNichols22 to receive 15% off your order. So remember, go to newprimal.com and let us know how you are returning to the table and connecting with others through food and the new Primal. Well, and it sounds like you were plant-based before it was cool to be plant-based. It's very hot topic right now.
Yeah, and it's great that it is, because I mean, it is just there's so many polyphenols, in all of the plant foods in the plant kingdom, and they are so vast, and we're getting so many antioxidants through plants. It's amazing what it can do for your immune system and your longevity. Yeah. And I don't know if you've ever heard of telomeres, but they are the part of our DNA that can make our life longer or shorter. And what's really cool is that, like, over time, if you think of your DNA strand like a shoelace, and if that little plastic end comes off of your shoelace, it begins to unravel. That's what happens in our life to our DNA and our telomeres. And the more plants that we get into our bodies, specifically vegetables and fruits, legumes, whole grains, and seeds, and nuts also included, but the more antioxidants and polyphenols we get, the longer our telomeres stay, which the telomeres are really what dictate like the length of our life.
It's amazing. If it grows from the ground, I'm pretty sure it's pretty healthy for you in those cases. So right. Yeah. Yes. Well, and I feel like, I know me personally, the more plants and vegetables I eat, the more I crave them. And I don't think people sometimes give vegetables a chance or realize the amount that they can be eating, or maybe preparing them in different ways, maybe better suited for their taste. But like I said, eating plant-based is so relevant right now. What would you suggest to someone that is maybe curious about transitioning to a plant-based lifestyle? I love how you first said when you transitioned, it was first for the animals and the environment and then for your own health. But what would you say to someone as a suggestion to get them started?
I suggest that you just start incorporating more plants into your daily life. So, I've been thinking a lot about how to help people the best, and what is it going to be? Is it going to be a 21-day kickstart? Is it going to be, a full throttle, like cold turkey type of thing? Or you could call it cold tofu, like my friend who's a vegan does. That is so fun. That's hilarious. But what is it going to be that's going to help people be most successful? I think what listeners need to do first is to decide, what do they want? Do they want to feel better? What are the reasons that they want to, maybe move more toward a plant-based lifestyle? Find that and figure out your why first. And then decide, are you going to do a program? And if you are going to do a program, maybe look into the PCRM 21-day vegan kickstart. It's a really great program, and it's just an easy, like, they give you recipes and food lists. So that's Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine, that PCRM website. Or you could just literally, like I was starting to say, put more plants into your diet. So fill your belly with more plants, and then you won't have room for other things, whether it be if you're eating animal products or if you're eating processed foods, you won't have the hunger there. And you will want to, the more that you eat these fresh foods, just like you were saying, the more that you're going to crave them because you're going to feel better.
Right.
And I think it definitely is important to make sure that you are getting enough calories. So if you are going to start, filling your belly with more plant food before you eat what you might normally be eating, I do think it's important to make sure that you are getting some complex carbohydrates. If you do eat grains, make sure that you are eating a healthy, grain source, or sweet potatoes. I mean, sweet potatoes, I seriously eat sweet potatoes every single day. Every single day. I eat sweet potatoes every day. And the reason why is because the Okinawans live the longest, and they literally eat sweet potatoes like as a staple of their diet. So
Nice.
If you look at the blue zones and the people who live the longest on this earth, sweet potatoes are a huge part of their diet. Like we could truly live on them if we needed to.
I could totally live on sweet potatoes.
Oh my God, right? And the purple ones and the white ones, like I'm looking over on my fruit,
Nice.
on my fruit like stack over here right now, my shelves, and I've got purple. I actually already have had purple sweet potatoes, and it's only 9:30 in the morning right now.
Nice.
I've already eaten them this morning after my first breakfast because I eat super early. But I think that, yes, incorporating a little bit higher calorie plant foods is going to really help people feel satiated, and just being aware that you're getting your greens and that you're adding color on your plate.
Yeah. Well, I think it's changing the way we think. I love how you said just transitioning into it. I saw Stella McCartney a couple years ago. Her and her dad were just saying, hey, let's just do meat-free Monday, and just kind of slowly transition into, maybe a couple days a week, just having all a plant-based diet. But also I think we need to think the way we think as far as, a standard American diet, and how people are afraid of carbs and potatoes and other things. And they think, or if people are wanting to try a plant-based lifestyle, because a lot of people are talking about right now, because they think, oh, maybe that's another diet that can help me lose weight, which is not the purpose of it.
Right. And that's something I was thinking about this morning, actually, how, like I was saying, this is truly a journey, and this is, I'm purposely moving my life toward how can I be as sustainable as possible during my life here on earth, and what can I do? So if people want to think about it that way, like what can I do to help our earth? And it can be a journey toward incorporating more plants that way. But it's truly like, maybe you start with meat-free Monday, or maybe you replace one meal a day that you're eating meat with a plant-based meal. And you do need to decide, again, like I was saying, is it going to be something that you want to do and you want to stick with? Because this truly is not a diet. Like, this is not a diet.
Right.
It's not a diet. May I say it again? It is a lifestyle. And so I don't even like to even be labeled. If you like, I do tell people, yes, I can coach you on how to live a plant-based lifestyle, or to transition to a plant-based diet if you want to look at it like that. Or you can become a vegan if you want to. But really, it's more than that. It's so much more than that. It's how can we prolong our life here on earth in the most sustainable and responsible way. Absolutely. That's what it is to me.
Well, it's sustainable for the earth and sustainable health-wise for yourself too.
Yes.
Amazing.
Yes.
Amazing. Yeah. I kind of want to switch gears a little bit, because I think another aspect of living a cleaner life is just really looking at the products in your home, as far as like cleaning products and beauty products. And I think another great movement going on right now is people talking about what we're using in our homes and on our bodies. And I know that's something you're really passionate about as well. How would you suggest someone start transitioning that way? Because I feel like for me, it seems really overwhelming to be like, oh my gosh, I have to go through everything and like get on Google for everything. Like, what is this ingredient in my makeup
Totally.
or in what I'm cleaning my countertops with? What would you suggest to help people get started with that?
Yeah. So, a little bit about that journey. Like, when we built our house, which was 10 years ago, I think it was a while ago. Maybe it was 8 years ago, but, when we moved in, I decided that I was going to, and it might have even been because of Alicia Silverstone's book. I'm not quite sure. But I woke up to the fact that chemicals in our everyday cleaning products are so toxic. I mean, I grew up loving the smell of Pledge. Do you know that lemon Pledge,
Oh
like
yeah,
furniture?
every Saturday morning, my mom would
Furniture
clean them up.
polish, lemon. Oh my gosh, so good. Well, you can easily replace a cleaner like that with a lemongrass essential oil.
Mhm.
And like it actually smells very much the same. So that's actually what I used to clean my studio with. But anyways, I'm getting on a tangent. I started switching over to like 7th generation brands. And at the time, Mrs. Meyer's brands which actually, that I don't like to name drop. I'm sorry. I just did. But what you want to look for is fragrance. Here's one of the easiest things to do with your cleaning products. Turn the bottle around and see if there's fragrance in it. This goes for cleaning and beauty products. Fragrance is a trade secret, and it's a loophole that we are trying to get closed. And I say we because I do this work with Beautycounter in our advocacy work, and we are trying to get better laws for all of American consumers and Canadian consumers. But what we want to do is we want to look for fragrance because that's a very, quite frankly, scary loophole that can have carcinogenic, allergy causing, and hormone disrupting chemicals underneath that one word. So it can also be parfum or perfume or eau de toilette. But that is like such an easy one. And it's like 85 to 90% of our products have it in it.
Wow.
So don't freak out if it does. But if it's something that you can part with and make an easy cleaner swap, do it. It's totally worth it. But like, again, there's a girl, I just watched this documentary called, okay, we're going to have to put this in the show notes because I can't remember what it's called. But she went through like a week long of switching her personal care products over to safer ones, and her blood levels were like crazy within just a week of switching her it might have been a few of her cleaning products too, because you can inhale those and you beauty products, like it can make an astronomical difference on your body and in your blood just from transitioning them out. But for a really, really long answer, go to the EWG website. I'm sorry, my dog's barking in the background. Go to the Environmental Working Group app website. You can either do that on your computer or you can download the app. It's called Healthy Living. It has a green logo, and you can just start pumping in your personal care and your cleaning products in there. It will give you a rating from 1 to 10. And what you want to do is stay below a 3. A 3 or below, you're in the safe range. And the coolest part about it is it tells you, like why it's giving you that rating. Open up the drop down and like, what are these specific ingredients that are giving it that rating? And like, it will say, neurotoxicity or endocrine disruption or carcinogenic, cancer causing. So it'll help you understand why. And then it should give you some safer and cleaner options, which is awesome. So it's like all right there. Okay, if I'm going to get rid of this Pledge, what can I use in place of that? So that app is so helpful. And then as far as your beauty products, it also has beauty in there as well. Not all of the companies are disclose their ingredients. So if you find that your personal care products are not within that app, you might be using a company that's very, very small and they just aren't within the database, or you might be using a product that the company doesn't want to disclose the ingredients because of known chemical harm, and they don't want to disclose that information, which they don't have to. There's no laws at all regulating companies on disclosing if they have lawsuits or if they have, people like having reactions to their products. There's no governing body on that. So it's really best to be your own advocate for this. And that's why I'm so passionate about the work that I do with Beautycounter, because we're trying to get, the laws changed so that when our kids grow up, we don't have to ask, we don't have to wonder, we don't have to have them turn the label around and look at their shampoo to make sure it's not toxic or not. The whole point of the work that we do is to try to get legislation to be much more strict, so that everything on the shelf is safe. Like, that's our end goal.
Well, really key here, like you said, is to be your own advocate. I know I downloaded the Healthy Living app probably last month, and I've been really bad about going through. I need to do it with the extra time I have now, go through and clean out everything. But I know this is really personal for me. My mom just went through a breast cancer journey this past year. And for me, I'm kind of like, okay, what can I do, as far as, sustaining my health as long as possible, eating more plants, but also, thinking of the products that her mom used when they were growing up. Like I said, every Saturday morning we were cleaning the house with Pledge and Windex and 409 and all those other things. And for me, I'm like, okay, what can I do environmentally to decrease my chances of that happening? And, it's things like that, which I think can be a little overwhelming, but luckily there's apps like Healthy Living and a lot of really great resources because people are talking about it. But it's a matter of you being your own advocate and taking the steps to replace things.
Yeah. And I think it does seem super daunting to people because they need a resource, like they need a person to go to, or they need an app that they can look at. And again, getting fragrance is such a trade secret. It could be, again, up to 3,000 chemicals that they don't tell you about in that one word. So, I mean, if you get rid of fragrance, you're already ahead. Like, you really, truly are. That's one of the easiest things to identify and get rid of. And it doesn't mean you don't have to smell good. Like, you can smell good. There can be things that are made with essential oils and stuff like that. Or, and yeah, you'll still smell great.
That's great. Well, you are definitely an expert everyone could turn to as far as living a cleaner lifestyle from the inside out. That's amazing. So thank you so much for this conversation today, Stacey. Where can everyone find you and connect with you online?
Yeah. So it was amazing. It was an awesome conversation. Thank you so much. Follow me on Instagram. That's probably where I'm the most active. It's The Urban Pharmacy. So Urban, HERBAN, pharmacy, like a farm, FARMACY. And so The Urban Pharmacy. And I try to give lots of tips and tricks on healthy living and just my day-to-day. And you might even see some clips from me and my husband and my son on our farm this summer. So, and then also on Facebook at Stacey Heiny. And I will eventually be working or opening up my website, which will be theurbanpharmacy.com, but that's still in the works.
That's wonderful. Well, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts and your passion behind this. I think it's going to really inspire a lot of people.
Oh, thank you so much again for having me.
You bet. Thank you so much, Stacey. I loved this conversation and wanted to share my 3 biggest takeaways. And I hope you, as the listener, take a lot of these to heart. So, number 1, when living a cleaner life, it's not just focused on eliminating foods that don't serve you or getting rid of toxic products in your home. It could also mean eliminating negative people out of your life. Toxic things filling your mind, whether it be the news or social media. You need to eliminate the things that don't make you feel your best. So whether it is a person, technology, or whatever, bless and release it. It's okay to let it go. I think that's a really good reminder right now for all of us, don't you think? Number 2, eat more plants. Yes, regardless if you want to be completely plant-based or not, it would all do us well to eat more plants. But let me really, really stress this. We're not eating more plants to lose weight. Okay? We're not eating plants just to lose weight, but more so to live longer. Like Stacey said, to live a more sustainable life, eat more plants. Stop eating the processed crap. And I am taking this to heart as well. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the episode, my sugar cravings have been at an all-time high due to the stress and overwhelm of the quarantine. And I know I need to eat more plants, not only for my body, but for my mind as well. So if you're looking to eat a more colorful diet, if you will, don't do it to lose weight. Do it to feel good. And number 3, read your labels, not just on the foods that you buy, but in the products you have in your home, cleaning products, beauty products, the products your kids use in their bathrooms as well. Like I mentioned, my mom just went through a breast cancer journey this past year, and it with all her testing and stuff, it wasn't genetic. There's no reason to say why she developed breast cancer. It could have been environmental. So for me, I'm like, well, what can I do to make sure I'm living my healthiest life in order to make sure I don't get breast cancer someday or any other type of illness for that matter? You know, eating food that Eating colorful food that makes you feel good is obviously a really great first step. Moving your body, another great step. But read the labels of what you have in your house that you're cleaning your body and your house with. Like Stacey mentioned, fragrance is a really key word to look for. Maybe eliminate those products and replace them with something else. Use that Healthy Living app, which I'm starting to use now, even though I've downloaded it a month ago. I need to really start digging in. But ultimately, more so than anything, start small. You don't want to be too overwhelmed where you just have analysis paralysis and don't move on replacing these products. I mean, thank goodness for technology right now. You can Google, YouTube, look on Amazon for the cleaner products that you can use in your home. And if all else fails, I would turn to Stacey Heiny because she is an expert and can give you some recommendations on how you can live the cleanest life possible for you. So I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I try to bring on such a variety of guests to get you thinking in a different way about your health. And, like I said, this is an episode about living a cleaner lifestyle. And it's not just about the food you put in your body. It's not just about the cleaning products. It's also about what you're filling your mind with at this time. So I am here for you. I'm still offering my self-care coaching opportunity. I'm not raising the rate. I'm going to keep it at the introductory $25 rate for now, in order to help serve my audience right now and help you curate a simple and sustainable self-care routine. I'll have a link in the show notes so we can work together. But thank you again to my guest, Stacey Heiny. I will include links in the show notes so you can go follow her and be inspired by her and her family. They have a farm, which is so exciting. They make their own elderberry syrup as well, which I'm definitely going to be trying out here very soon. So make sure you give me a follow over on Instagram at Emily Nichols22 and at Self Care Isn't Selfish Podcast. And if you love today's episode, please share. Please leave a rating and review. Know that helps reach so many more people within our audience and impacts more people to make self-care a priority in their lives. So thank you all. Remember, we're all in this together. Love you all. See you next week.